Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is Sideline Inside Football Podcast where we talk everything football related. And before we get into the business of the day, I'll have to say this that my condolences to the families of Diogo Jota and Andrea Silva. They lost their life in a car crash, I think, on early hours on Thursday. And by the time this video comes out, I think the funeral for everything will probably be done and I think the funeral will be going be held in Porto as well. Really sad one. I think Diogo Jota was actually one of my favorite players, although he played for Liverpool, and other clubs. That wasn't us now, but that's not going to take away from how much he's impacted football. He's that kind of player that you cannot hate, honestly, and so sad. It's a tough pill to swallow. Very difficult, breaking news, and it's really sad, really tough one, honestly. I think it's a lesson for all of us to make use of the little time we have on earth, because life is too short. We don't know when we're going to go. We don't know. So whatever it is that you're going through, anybody you have a grudge, we have a grudge against and everything like that, please let us live our life, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what is eventually going to happen. So we need to live our life and put God first in everything we do as well. Well, let's get into the business of the day. So we're going to be talking about a whole lot of things. So make sure you like, subscribe, and you share, because this is a channel that talks about everything football. So instead of surfing through the net and trying to figure out a whole lot of things, have everything covered here for you. Everything is covered here. So just make sure you like, subscribe. Everything from the world of transfers to the ongoing FIFA Club World Cup, and now the WAFCON women's AFCON that will be going down, that will be starting today in Morocco, and as well as the women's Euro in Switzerland. We're going to be covering everything and giving you the latest updates. We're going to be getting you up to speed and when it comes to football. So please make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe, please, I beg. We have a whole lot of series coming your way, but we can't do that. We're not really seeing views and getting likes and getting subscriptions like that, because we need to get the energy to kind of push us to do more. So please don't just watch the podcast, just make sure you like, share, and you subscribe as well. I'm going to be doing today's podcast alone because for me, one of the regulars on the show cancelled last minute, so I just have to because I have prepared a whole lot of things to discuss, but since he's not going to be around, I think how swift the world of football moves. By tomorrow morning and everything like that, the news I have here might be still news, so I just have to put it that day. And in fact, I will even update you guys about the happenings last week as well, so we have to get you up to speed on that. And just another episode today is about another episode of what you missed in football this past week. But now I think this is the third episode. I think we have we have to start putting numbers, start naming this episode. I think this is episode 3, but it's going to be happening every week, even when the Premier League, the La Liga, and Serie A resumes, and we start playing. We're going to be doing everything we're going to be giving you the updates every single week. So let's get into the business of the day. All right, let's talk about transfer news, world of transfers. And I think this transfer, I think we're witnessing a roller coaster of signings this transfer window. I think this transfer window is arguably one of the most dramatic one we've seen in recent years. A whole lot of transfers, a whole lot of unexpected moves. And I think for me so far, the one that's kind of caught me off guard is probably the signing of John Duran from El Nassr to Fenerbahce, because he went to El Nassr in January and is already moving back to Europe. Although I wasn't really, in support of what he did, I didn't really like the fact that with his young age, he's moving down to Saudi Pro League. No disrespect to Saudi Pro League, but I think he still has a whole lot of things to offer as a youngster. But now I think he's going to Fenerbahce, which I don't think is also a right deal. But we'll get into it. So now let's talk about Arsenal. Arsenal have been making a whole lot of noise in transfer markets, and pleased to announce to Arsenal fans that if you don't already know, they've announced the signing of Kepa. Kepa, who was a former Chelsea player and was on loan at Bournemouth last season, had a phenomenal season playing for Bournemouth last season, is now officially going to be an Arsenal player. I think I've mentioned that before, but Arsenal have now announced, they've announced themselves. This is no longer a Fabrizio Romano or David Austin Bomber. This is now done, signed, and confirmed by the team. And now, also, the likes of Zubimendi, confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, and Christian Nogard as well, confirmed by Fabrizio Romano.
Well, luckily for me, I was able to get the news before I post this video that Arsenal they've now announced the signing of Matthias Zubimendi, and that's a great one, a great one. Sanogan still not announced it, but they've now announced signing of Matthias Zubimendi. I think the necessary saga is finally over.
It's a done deal. There's nothing taking that one. And the one that also kind of surprised me, is shock yesterday, was the fact that Tomiyasu has now left Arsenal. I think himself and Arsenal, they've agreed on the mutual termination of his contract. And I think for me, Tomiyasu, as an Arsenal fan, Tomiyasu was one of those players that was also unfortunate with injuries. He had when he played, that something's going to happen. He's always there when it comes to defending, offensively as well. Phenomenal player, but just like one of those players that just injuries just couldn't let them shine. I think this also kind of reminds me of a Jack Wilshere as well. I mean, it's a really painful one, but I think this is the ruthlessness that Arsenal kind of needs to kind of win things. They cannot afford to be sentimental, and that is why the signing of a certain Christian Mosquera makes a lot of sense. It makes a whole lot of sense because now that Tomiyasu is leaving, has left already, is confirmed. Mosquera wants Arsenal. I think personal terms is not an issue or anything. The only problem is that Valencia, the parent club, wants £25 million, and I think Arsenal are only prepared to pay 15. Arsenal already submitted a bid of 10 million, but that got rejected, and now they have to make sure that they have to go again. And I think Arsenal are prepared to pay 15 million, and Valencia are willing to accept 25 million. And I think the 10 million valuation is still kind of wild. It's still kind of wide. I think this thing needs a whole lot of things. I think the fact that the player is pushing for the move, as well as the fact that he rejected a new contract offered to him by certain Valencia, I think that's another thing we need to consider. And I think it's probably going to happen, maybe not just as early as we think it might be. So let's talk about Thomas Partey. It's a bit sensitive and controversial, but just have to just talk about it because it's still in news, but not a good one. And it's that Thomas Partey has now been charged with 5 counts of and 1 count of sex by 3 different women. I mean, it just kind of shows how little we know as football fans, that we don't really know a whole lot of things. And I think I remember this news coming out, I think in summer of 2022-2023, and at first we all thought it was Granit Xhaka. Oh, let me just speak for myself. I thought it was Granit Xhaka. Then Trangata was like, no, it's not him and everything. Then he came out and everything, and then we now found out that it was Thomas Partey, and then everything just died down, and then now it's back and it's been charged. It's not just like it's not like they're just making claims. This is like he's been charged already and is expected to appear in court soon. I don't know much about the court hearings and everything like that, and when that's going to happen. Well, let's not just talk about it, let's just move forward. And another news coming from Arsenal is that Arsenal are still on the Gyökeres case. First it was Benjamin Sesko, and now it's the Gyökeres. I think the saga is just back and forth, and we're not going to talk about it. But I think the update from that aspect is that Mikel Arteta, according to reports from different outlets, is that um, Arteta has now given Arsenal, like the Arsenal board or hierarchy or whoever is in charge, and the better whoever, that they have 2 weeks to finalize the deal between Gyökeres and Arsenal. And I think I remember something similar happened when Arsenal wanted to like buy Declan Rice from West Ham as well. So I think it's really really annoying because why is it not done yet? Why is it not done yet? So well, I think only time will tell. I think the next news coming from Arsenal is that Peter Waneri's deal, like the contract talks, is now stalling because the poor guy wants um a guaranteed playing time. And I kind of get it with a whole lot of talks about Eze coming in, Rodrigo coming in, a whole lot of players. The poor guy needs to be sure that he has a future at Arsenal, that Mikel Arteta has plans to include him in the team. And the talent he has, I feel like Arteta is kind of not giving that guy enough time to shine. Compared to the likes of Miles Lewis Kelly that has probably a starter in the team already, and then you have Ethan Waneri that every time he comes on always shows that he's got quality too. Although he's not a winger, I think his preferred position is a midfielder, but he can also do a job down the wing as well. And that'll make me go into the next news, and it's about Noni Madu Eke. Noni Madu Eke Madueke is the Nigerian way to call it. I think it's Nigerian, probably parents or whatever. And the news is that Noni Madueke is actually open to joining Arsenal as well, which is also very interesting because if they're signing Noni Madueke, who likes to play preferably down the right wing, and certain one area is supposed to be the next in line after Bukayo Saka, I also don't see the need to sign in Noni Madueke if you're going to bring in Eberechi Eze, are going to bring in Victor Gyökeres and Rodrigo, unless it's just like a third option in case they don't get all of those targets. But for me, I think just a matter of time. I think that no, although according to reports, no talks between Chelsea and Arsenal yet. I think it's just from the camp of the player if he's open to joining Arsenal. According to reports, it's confirmed that he's actually open to joining Arsenal. And Maresca has also said that if any player is not happy at Chelsea, they can also go, according to reports. Not my words, according to reports as well. Let's move to Chelsea now. Well, the updates from Chelsea is that Chelsea they've now qualified. They've now qualified for the semi-final of the FIFA Club World Cup, currently ongoing at the United States of America, and they will be facing Fluminense, and that will be really interesting to see. Really, really interesting to see. So another news update coming from the world of transfers for Chelsea is that João Pedro has now completed a move to Chelsea, signed, is done. In fact, he's already there in America with them to probably, maybe he's going to make an appearance in the semi-finals or in the final, we don't know. But it's actually a very interesting one because nobody expected that it was Newcastle that was linked, then they rejected, they moved to Newcastle and now to Chelsea. And to think that Chelsea they've also signed the winger from Palmeiras, who they defeated Palmeiras 2-1, and Estavio, the player that they signed for 60 million, is the same player that scored against them. And now that they've lost and then they're probably going back to Brazil, Estavio will be joining Chelsea next season as well. He is a left winger and he looks like a proper talent, honestly, watching him play yesterday. And he got the man of the match award as well, which is really really nice to see. Really really nice to see. And I think João Pedro moved to Chelsea, once, but like an RKO out of nowhere. And actually for me, I think it's a really really nice deal for me. I don't really know how it's going to kind of be I think it's probably going to be competing with Liam Dilla, or are they planning to sell Nicholas Jackson? We don't know. No report on that yet. But they have, let's say, 3 strikers now. And I think it's looking good for Chelsea. It's just about implementing the right set of players and making them work and figuring out the first 11, which will be another video for next time. And now the team is actually making a lot of moves in the transfer market is also Juventus. Now confirmed a deal for Jonathan David from Lille. He joins them on a 5-year contract, and I think that's actually a very nice move from Juventus, a very, very solid one as well. Manchester United and Juventus, they've now reached an agreement to sell Jadon Sancho for 25 million euros, which is very interesting. But they've not agreed personal terms with the player. They've just agreed a deal, club to club is done. Now all about personal deal. And if that means if they can't get you know agreement between themselves and Jadon Sancho, that means the deal might not really be valid. So they have to like get the personal terms out of the way as well. And the final news from Juventus is that um they're thinking about terminating Dusan Vlahovic contract. And all Arsenal fans will probably remember Dusan Vlahovic, one of the best strikers probably 2 3 years ago, and then he rejected a move to Arsenal. Then he went to Juventus, and now it's kind of like kind of frozen out of the team. They have a whole lot of they're bringing a lot of strikers. They brought in Jadon Sancho, they brought in Kolo Muani from PSG rather. And although I don't know if Kolo Muani will be moving back to PSG because they went there on loan, and Jonathan David from Lille as well. So I think it's actually making a whole lot of sense that Zan Vlahovic is probably not, no longer their main man, and they're looking forward to, to go and move past him and everything like that. And uh, let's go to Manchester City now. Manchester City are also, of course, they've done a lot of business, during the first 10 days when in June when the transfer window opened in June, and now they are interested in Denzel Dumfries, who has a 25 million euros release clause at Inter, and it's only valid until mid-July. So anything that they're trying to do, they have to do it now, because by the end of mid-July, the deal is done. So I think the release clause is actually very interesting, very, very smart move. Manchester City, they've done a whole lot of business. They brought in the likes of Tijani Reinders, they brought in Ryan Cherki, they brought in the Wolves player. I can't remember his name now. I can't remember his name. The Wolves left back. Yeah, left back. The Wolves left back. And that really makes a whole lot of sense. They're going for the Dumfries because Kyle Walker has finalized a move to Burnley, and it's a deal worth £5 million, which is really, really cheap for Kyle Walker's quality, but because he's old now, he's not really as dangerous as he used to be. He's going to be a Burnley player on a 2 years deal, a 2 year deal. And the first part of the medical test already took place as well. I think that's a done deal, signed and everything like that. Now let's talk about Manchester United. Manchester United, they signed, Kunia, which is no longer news, but the news coming from Manchester United today is that they are still not, they are still battling to get the Mbemo deal over the line. They are yet to get a concrete they are yet to finalize the deal between themselves and Brentford. The asking price of Brentford, kind of the difference in valuation is still very we're not going to talk about it because it's not a done deal yet. But the news coming from Manchester United today is that 5 Man United players have officially handed in transfer requests. 5 of them. 5. So Anthony, that went on loan to Real Betis in La Liga last season. Garnacho also handed a transfer request. Marcus Rashford, that one is even a no-brainer because we know that there's a bad blood between himself and Ruben Amorim. And Jadon Sancho is probably on his way to Juve as we speak. I already mentioned that earlier. And Tyrell Malacia also. So those 5 players are they've handed their transfer request that okay, we're no longer interested in this business. We want to do Manchester United and find a new club. Now let's talk about other transfer stories and just check around the world and everything like that. Now Nico Williams announced Barcelona to renew his contract with Athletic Bilbao, or the Athletic Club, any way you want to call them, and the release clause is now 95 to 100 million euros. Good luck with that, because I think he's on a high wage at Atletico Bilbao, and bro, I don't think Barcelona can afford to pay the wages, or maybe, but the only person, like, I think we are not the only person that is shocked. Lamine Yamal was just shocked. He thought he was going to, link up with his best friend at Barcelona, and they're going to, run the world and just have fun. But unfortunately, Nico Williams had other plans, and he's not going to be a Barcelona player, at least not next season. He's going to be playing at Athletic Bilbao or the Athletic Club next season as well. Now, Alex Iwobi to Atletico Madrid, another shocking one, another one that nobody expected. I mean, Atletico Madrid are interested in signing Alex Iwobi. That's super nice, super nice. But the bad news is that Fulham, they've now rejected a £21.5 million offer from Atletico Madrid for him. So that means they have to do more. You want to get, Alex Iwobi, you have to put more money on the table. Napoli also interested in Darwin Nunes, which is also good because Darwin Nunes obviously doesn't have any future at Liverpool. They will want to go into the market to look for another striker. And I think their dream target is Alexander Isak, but I don't think that's going to be happening. I think he's super happy at Newcastle and probably going to take a whole lot of money, which they have to be careful now because they've spent a whole lot of money already this transfer window, so they have to be careful to make sure that they do not fall victim of any of those things like that. So now let's talk about Newcastle. Newcastle have now also made Giorgio Scalvani of Atalanta their top defensive target. The 21-year-old is now Newcastle's top target next for this summer transfer window, and they plan to sign him for £30 million. I think that's super interesting, super interesting to see what happens in that one. Let's again to Inter Milan because Jan Soma potentially on the verge to join Galatasaray. I think Galatasaray are also moving. They plan to retain the Nigerian sensational striker, our very own Victor Osimhen, and we don't know what will happen. But I think, just like I said, this transfer window is probably one of the the most dramatic one we've seen in recent years. A whole lot of signings, roller coasters of signings, movements, and a whole lot of unexpected twists and turns already in this transfer window. But let's talk about the FIFA Club World Cup. FIFA Club World Cup is probably heading to the semi-finals now. Also, we already had a quarter-final between Chelsea and Palmeiras, and another quarter-final between Al Hilal and Fluminense. So Chelsea came out on top, and Fluminense also beat Al Hilal as well, 2-1, similar scoreline. And Chelsea are now through to semi-finals as well as Fluminense, and I will still have 2 quarter-finals left to play. We have the game between PSG and Bayern, probably the toughest fixture out of all of the quarter-final games, and that will be going down on the 5th of July. Today, time of the recording, 5th of July, 5th of July at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. So I think PSG will probably be my, the team I'll probably back to go all the way in this one. And then we've got Real Madrid and Dortmund. We were actually hoping to see the battle of the Bellingham brothers, but unfortunately, Joe Bellingham got a yellow card, so he's probably he's not going to be making an appearance in that competition. And yeah, let's go to our women's Euros. The women's Euros, of course, currently ongoing in Switzerland. A whole lot of games already went down already. We've got 4 groups, the usual way. 2 top teams from each group will advance to the next stage. And already we have Norway leading Group A, we've got Spain leading Group B, and then we've got Germany leading Group C. And England, the Group D fixtures, by the time of this recording, they are still not. I think they're going to be playing later that day, 5 p.m. And that's probably probably a game between Wales and Netherlands, and then France versus England. It's like Group D is actually like the most difficult group at the ongoing women's Euros, and I think England and France have a whole lot of work to do to make sure they qualify well in this competition. And the good thing is that it's not just the women's series that is currently ongoing. We've got the WAFCON, the women's WAFCON, the main tournament for women in Africa. Also going down, will be starting today, the 5th of July, and it will be the host Morocco against Zambia, the fast rising Zambia national team. And of course, let's not forget that Zambia, they've got the 2024 African Women's Best Player, Barbara Banda, and she's going to be, trying to, like, probably she has a whole lot to prove, a whole lot of points to prove, and it's really going to be interesting to see what happens in that one. So the WAFCON 2025 has three groups: Group A, Group B, and Group C. Let me quickly take you through the countries in each group. Group A has Morocco, Zambia, Senegal, and DR Congo. Group B has the Nigerian, the nine times winners, Nigeria, nine times winners, Nigeria, Tunisia, Algeria, and Botswana. Group B has South Africa, Ghana, Mali, and Tanzania. So those are the teams. Of course, two top teams from each of this group qualifies, and the two best third place teams will also advance. So you guys, I think that is all for today, and a whole lot of teams have been fired by UEFA. I'll be adding that to the screen. A whole lot of teams. Of course, I'm not kind of surprised at Chelsea and in that one. Lyon as well, going through relegation struggles and suspension to the second tier because of they violated a whole lot of financial fair play rules. So I'll be giving you the update on that one on the screen because I don't have it here with me. Yeah, so I think that is the end of the video. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We have a whole lot of things to come your way. So do not forget turn on your notification bell on so that when we upload new videos, you get to see all of that on time, and you get to catch up and get up to speed with the latest happenings in the world of football. And did I mention my name earlier? No, I did not. My name is Peace. I'm your host. Until I come your way next time, like, share, and subscribe. I beg. Like, share, and subscribe. Take care. Goodbye. And God bless. Bye.
Subscribe to my channel.